rock star Glenn is here from Effective Digital, and he's going to be talking about how to choose the right tech stack. Effective Digital. I don't know why we got Effective Digital on there twice, Glenn. That's probably me. So we are going to be talking about tech stacks. Tech stacks, of course, if you're not familiar, are all the technology that you use to run your business, hopefully to make it more efficient and make it work for you instead of you working your business work for you instead of the other way around. And so let's get into it right away. As Glenn joins us, I'll just remind you that you can drop your questions throughout the session in the comment section, Q&A section, chat function. We know how it works. We've been doing this for almost a year now. But look at my slide, Glenn. What's going on here? Effective Digital.
Well,
it's everywhere.
Effectively, James was unable to make it, so he's now rock starring a very good role. So the Spike half of Effective Digital is going to represent from now on.
Okay. Do you want me to change my slide so it says Spike? Maybe I'll do that
at some stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you go and work your magic.
Okay. I'm looking forward to this one today. So I'll share my screen. Oh, actually, we're going to have to change that because it needs to be this one. Right, so you can see that. Let's present.
Loading. Yep, perfect.
Right, so good morning. Thanks, Anna Marie. So good morning. So how to choose the right tech stack. And the outcome of today's workshop is that you are going to know what platforms work well together, and that will save you time and hassles. Because the biggest thing about technology is not knowing what is doing what in your business. And there's a lot of cost savings and a lot of time savings and attention savings to be had by choosing the right tech stack. So good morning, I'm Glenn from Spike. I'm on a mission to help businesses win with email marketing, or just marketing and with your business in general. I believe that the value of your business is in your customer database, and that email marketing is still the most effective and measurable way to unlock that potential. Now, I've been doing this for over 20 years. Spike has been around since August 2004. And you might have noticed a lot of people jumping on the email marketing bandwagon late this year as they realize that there's a whole bunch of stuff happening with iOS 15 and things, and email is going to be one of the only ways where you're going to be able to talk basically one-on-one with your clients and with your customers. So here's a little bit of a brag page. And as you can see, Anna Marie's up there because I love these Digital Boost workshops. They give me I get a lot of feedback and a lot of great questions from the business owners that I want to help. If you go to the MailChimp experts page, you'll see me sitting there front and center still. Gary on the left, he's from Australia, and Emily on the right is from the US. And just recently I did a MailChimp masterclass, and why I've circled that good looking man down there is because he's one of the owners of MailChimp, Ben. So I was pretty excited to see his reaction in there. And of course I own Spike. So today we're going to cover what is a tech stack, how to choose the right tech for your business, my choice of technology for Spike, just to give you a good idea about what you could be using and how we use it, and then also how to audit your tech stack. And right at the end, I've got a digital boost offer. So what is a tech stack? A technology stack, or tech stack, is the collection of platforms and applications and software that you're using, that your business uses to operate on a day-to-day basis. So very simple. It's all of the stuff that you use, whether it's software. I mean, it might even be a manual thing. It could be part of your tech stack that makes your business run, that makes it happen. So that's the jargon, tech stack, but that's exactly what it is there. So for example, Rocket Spark and Shopify are websites. So if you've got one of these, that's your website, part of your tech stack. And then on top of that, you might have your MailChimp or MailerLite as your email marketing That should show up in a sec. And then for your accounting, you might have 0, or you might even have like MYOB. So, so right now with these 6 things, we've covered your website, we've covered which is your storefront online, we've covered how you communicate with people, and we've covered off and how you get paid and sort out, where your money's going. I mean, you can sort out stock, all sorts of things within these. And then the next one, CRM. So HubSpot, UPilot, those are the quite common. And then on top of that, we start to get, what else have we got? So we've got our social stuff. So we've got Facebook and Messenger, and then we've got Instagram and LinkedIn. And then on top of that, we've got our tools that we use. So we might have Asana and Harvest, and we might also, on top of that, have Slack. And this is why it starts to get kind of confusing about what to use, because you've actually got a huge amount of stuff in play. And I think that you need to have a really good handle on all these things and make sure they're doing exactly what you'd like them to do. So, shall I just go back to that? So just in action, just so you've got an idea of how those all work together. So you can see that you're using your social on the front end for your acquisition. And then you've got like, that's coming into your website, and then you're using MailChimp, or you might be using Sumo for your pop-up and your sign-up form. And then that's going into MailChimp, and then you're sending emails from MailChimp, and then we've got a welcome series in here. So within there, we've got like 4, 5 different, 6 different things. We've got the website, we've got our 3 social things. A Google could also be used for, Gmail, Google suite of tools, and then we've got MailChimp. So it adds up very quickly, and you've got to be aware of all of these things and actually they either work without you having to pay attention, which I think is the best thing that happens, or if something's going wrong, you need to be paying attention. So like, here's how to choose the right tech stack for your business. So when choosing technology, you need to ask yourself, like, what are my business processes? Like, what actually happens in my business? Is this thing going to save me and my staff time? How hard is it to set up? Now, this one is really interesting, right? Because everything looks so easy to set up. Just enter your email address and start a trial. It's actually a lot harder than that, because if you're setting up MailChimp, for example, and then you've got to set up a template and the welcome series and the sign up form, it suddenly gets quite hard, because you're like, well, hang on, I thought I was just sending emails. Don't you say you make it easy? And they do, but it's like there's that extra level of knowledge that you need to have to make sure it's set up properly, and then you're actually getting bang for your buck. Because if it's not set up properly, you're just going to think of it as a cost. And it shouldn't be a cost. If a piece of technology is working properly, it should be either helping you make money, or it should be, saving you time. So the thing about how hard it is to set up too is, like, for example, a piece of software like SAP, which is a big, just about to use some jargon, but it's a big ERP. So it's a big tool to run a business and all of the back end. And I cannot remember for the life of me what ERP stands for, but maybe someone will. And so when you've got these big tools, like the actual software itself is actually quite cheap. But when you're setting it up, it could cost millions. I was part of a project where we set up the email side and the data side, and it was a lot of work. But on the other side, when I was setting up SAP, it was 2 years and a lot of people. So many millions of dollars. And this is when it comes like, when you choose, you've got to make sure you're choosing the right one. So the next thing is, how does it get me money? Thinking about that. What will I measure its performance on? Now, a lot of the issues I see in businesses today is that people aren't measuring the performance. They're kind of like set and forget. And I'm going to get to auditing later, because I think it is important to regularly audit what you're using in your business, because that is money going out. And if it's not making you money or getting you money or saving your time, then you need to be, getting rid of it. So you need to have a measure for its performance. And that is going to depend on each piece of tech. So the other question to ask yourself is, do I really need it? I bet you there's quite a few of you who could be watching today or watching this later, that if you actually started listing out your tech and everything, you're not actually using things. So you've signed up for a trial and you're not using it. So did I really need it? No. And I think sometimes it's best to hold off before you actually start something, instead of just starting the trial, because a trial is going to take your attention. And, there's a guy named Alex Hormozy out there, really worth checking out his book, $100 Million Offers, how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no to. And the thing about time and attention that he talks about is that attention is your most important thing. And attention is all the little bits of software. It's all the little jobs that you haven't done. It's all these other, like these things that just mount up that take your attention. Look, I'll give you a really good example. Say if you were renting out a house, you're going to go and move to another house. That is going to take a huge amount of attention. You're going to be out there looking for properties, emailing people, you're going to be like, the attention, you almost need to take a week off work and sort that out, right? Going to all the things. So the time itself, probably, it's a few hours here and there, but the attention that you would have to pay to make sure you get the right house, make sure you aren't asking the right questions, huge. It's just going to take up all of your mind space. So, sometimes in situations like that, and if you're the landlord as well, it's better just to get someone managing for that, and then you don't have to pay attention to it. So attention is just all of those things that you think about because they're not finished yet. And then the next thing is, can I get help with it easily? Like with MailChimp, for example, there's lots of people that can help you with MailChimp, either locally or online, like so many people. And I think that this is a key thing to ask yourself whenever you are signing up for any technology. Can I get help with this easily? And if you can't, or if that help is costly because it's just this unique thing, don't use it, because it's actually just going to take up more attention and it's going to slow you down. So you need things that you can get help with easily and cost effectively as well. So my choice of technology. This is the technology. I did a quick audit of this before I put this together, and I was like, what are we using in our business? So, we have a couple of websites. One of those is on WordPress and the other one is on Rocket Spark. And then we've got Google, like G Suite. We've got, we're using Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're using UPilot for our CRM, MailChimp. Actually, there's one tool I forgot there. It's Green Arrow to send emails. And then on our, business side, we use Harvest to track our time. And then we've got Slack and Asana and Xero. So why we use Rocket Spark is because that's a really good platform, and it integrates really nicely with MailChimp. And then WordPress is actually our older stuff. Like I'm going to move away from WordPress, and I'll be moving all our websites onto Rocket Spark, so that we just have one platform that my guys need to know. And that's another reason why we're really doubling down on MailChimp, because like we learn so many platforms. Like, it's actually a waste of time. Like, we've probably forgotten more about platforms and software than we know currently. Like, was it a waste of time? Probably not at the time, because, as a client, and we needed to learn something new. But actually, that learning cycle takes a long time, and it just slows everything down, and it can be quite costly as well. And I'm not generally the type of business person to pass that on to a client, so we have to suck it up. But the thing is that at the time, it's just, I feel, slowing you down. Another tool you could say is like using Fiverr for my business, right? Like, Fiverr is really useful, and why it's useful is because it's the fastest speed that I can get. Like, in my offices, when we worked in an office, I had the biggest pipe I could get into there. And the reason for that is that any millisecond that we saving screens, moving moving between things, adds up to many, many, many hours a year. So many hours, right? So if something can save faster because the internet connection is faster, then that's saving me hours and hours. And actually, in some respects, that's like where I can make my money, because how fast that spike can do things is where our margin is. I mean, it's taken us 20 years to get there, and really good internet, but it's like, have a think about that. Like, what can speed up your processes? Fast internet for me, really useful, because it just means that my guys aren't just sitting there while something hangs. We don't want that. And then, like, when you're looking at how these things work together, I think that's the key thing to look. Like, Rocket Spark integrates natively with MailChimp. UPilot integrates natively with MailChimp. UPilot is $19 US for a really powerful, per user per month, for a really powerful CRM. Really powerful, and yet it integrates directly with MailChimp, and you can choose the audience. So this is where, even though MailChimp really likes, and I advocate for 2 audiences, just last week I had a customer, and we've got 2 audiences that are going to be set up. One for their B2B that we'll use UPilot for, and then the other one is their retail, which we're just sending emails out of MailChimp. So we're actually splitting it up, but everything just integrates nicely together. Obviously, with Slack, we don't send each other internal emails. Like, we just don't, and it just saves you so much time. So even if we're working with customers and some suppliers, we'll have a Slack channel, and then everything is saved in one place. And this is why a lot of these tools are so useful, especially like Google Suite and Slack, and even Asana and Harvest and Xero, is everything is in one place. All the information that you need, you only have to have one login. So that's the tools that we use in our business. Harvest time tracking, Xero for our accounting, Asana for jobs, setting up jobs, and then our marketing and CRM on the other side. Really easy. So if I was starting out again, which I've done from time to time, but I think, like, when you're starting a new business, I would start with Rocket Spark for my website. And the reason I would start with Rocket Spark is that, like, it's local, great company, and if you're selling online, there's no transaction fees. So why would you use Shopify when you can just use and charge you all these extra fees, when you can use something that doesn't charge you fees and has local support, like really good local support? And I know that Shopify does too, but it's like, I just feel that for small businesses starting off, you just can't be hammering the fees, right? Because honestly, it'll put you out of business, because you're getting charged these extra things. And Shopify, you just have apps for everything. Now, I might say, that Rocket Spark might not do all these things, but it's getting there. But the thing is, like, to sell online, you only really need some basics, right? And so, I like Rocket Spark because of that. The other reason I like it is because it integrates directly with MailChimp. Like, you log in and connect. And it's just so easy, right? And then suddenly your sign up form, which you can set up in Rocket Spark, is now linked to your MailChimp account, and you can set up a welcome series. The other thing is Google Suite. I mean, Microsoft 365 is very good as well. And in fact, these days, I would say, especially because they support Digital Boost as well, I would say go and have a look at that. I just find, Google sometimes easier to set up, but I do think that Microsoft 365, there's a lot that you can do in there as well. Xero, I use Xero above MYOB, but I feel like that's just because it is a New Zealand business, good local support, good bookkeepers who can help you out and make sure that all your stuff is set up properly before you send it to an accountant. And then we've got you're using Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And all of those things doing video. And then if you're B2B, I'd be using UPilot. We are working on using UPilot for e-commerce because I do think that there is a level above what we can do in MailChimp, that you can have all your birthdays, but you can do some really good stuff when the data isn't always available in the website platform. So for example, if you want to, you can see who bought what, when, and all that stuff. But if you want to really start digging down into who your best clients are, then I think some of the platforms have it, but I just find there's this extra layer that you can dig into that can really especially really grow your business, especially around retention. So how to audit your tech stack. I'm going quite quick today. So sorry. So we'll have a lot more time for Q&A. But this auditing process that I mentioned before, what are my business processes? I think this is really important that you map these out, that you actually sit there and go, okay, what actually happens in my business? What does a sale look like? And I would draw it out because I like seeing things, and I think for most people it works. It's okay, where do people find me? Oh, they find me on Google, or they come directly to my website. So you draw a box that says website, and then you go, okay, so website, what do I use for that? I use Rocket Spark or Shopify or WordPress. Okay, cool, got that. Now, what are the apps I use on that website? Now, if it's Shopify, you might have 10 that you're paying for. And then if it's Rocket Spark, well, pretty much none. So then it's okay, how am I handling my customer communication? Okay, it's integrated with MailChimp, tick. And then how do I handle my inventory? I use MYOB, or I use MoneyWorks, or I use Xero, and I use a spreadsheet. So, you just start mapping it out, right? Put everything in there and work out what those processes are. And actually, you'd be very surprised that when you do this, at what steps you can remove. They're not actually doing anything. It's something that you do, but actually, if you took it out, you suddenly would speed up your business processes, which could speed up how people buy off you, which is going to make sure that more people buy off you. Because the faster that someone can buy from you, the more they're likely to talk about how good it was, right? They'll be like, wow, that's great. I'm going to tell Cheryl about that because I just bought it on this website and it was so fast and it got delivered in 3 days. So, but map out all of your business processes. And then the next thing is list out all the apps and tools, right? Put them in a spreadsheet. I think that's actually important. So draw it up and then put them all in a spreadsheet. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to work out how much or how does each app affect your efficiency or effectiveness. And this is where I was talking about speed, how quickly can you do something with that app or not, how and where and when it's used in the business process. So that's why the mapping out at the beginning is really important, and how ingrained is that application or tool or platform in the business operation? Like, is it every day or is it just every so often? And then how much would it cost to move to a different system? Like, these are the things you need to think about. And then the other thing is, like, the next thing is, does the app have potential to meet more than one need? And then if so, which needs? So for example, Harvest, we do time tracking, but then we also push through work from Harvest into Xero. So it just produces the invoices in Xero, so we can send them out. So it's kind of doing two things there, right? It's doing the time tracking, making sure, we're capturing all the time, we're capturing all the work that was meant to be done, and then we push it through to Xero. It actually creates an invoice, and then that's in Xero, and we can send it out. So have a think about all of those things. So there's a really good app for this, which I will hopefully just post in there now. And you should be able to see this. Now, this is actually from HubSpot. So if you click on that, it'll take you through to a page, and you'll be able to just make a copy of that and use it. There's three tabs in there to have a look at. And this was the best one that I could find that I thought would be worth sharing. So have a look at it. And it actually is a template for how to do all of this. And the other thing is, go to, this is the page where you can get this from, which is on HubSpot. So I would just do a Google search for auditing, audit business tech stack, or I think that's what I did, and it came up. But that's a really good spreadsheet or worksheet that you can use. So have a look at that. So the whole thing, the whole reason we're doing these tech stack audits and going through is to save you time. I think that is the most important thing, because if a piece of technology can save you time, you should do it. And then the attention as well, right? But saving time, because saving time means that you can just get to other things faster. And look, people talk about passive income and businesses on automatic and autopilot and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that those businesses are very effective in a lot of ways, because a human needs to look at something somewhere along the line to make sure it's working. And so that's why the whole idea of set and forget for your marketing, for example, for your SEO, for your paid ads, for your Facebook, like, never do that. Never just leave it up to someone else to be doing it for you. Like, always be auditing their work and making sure you're measuring it, right? But, the key thing about all of these tools is, do they save you time, especially as a small business owner? The other thing is being consistent, having the plan, being disciplined. That's the other reason, like, just making sure that everything you've got in place is leading you towards your goals. Really, really important. So the next thing is what we've gone through today is why, oh no, not about email marketing, crikey. It was why, you can see I sometimes do these near the end of the day, right? 11 o'clock at night. So our first thing we went through today was, what is a tech stack? How to choose the right tech for your business. My choice of technology for Spike, and how to audit your tech stack. So your action for this week, I think, is to just to add another one. But I think this is a good time of the year to do it, especially as we're heading into the Christmas break, because you can put some thought into it, is to audit your tech stack. Now, if you need some help with this, this is a special offer for Digital Boost. I've got and if you really want to crack into this and get some help quickly, I'm running a 1K email marketing intensive, and it starts on the 13th of December. So it's a very short runway, I know. And it finishes on the 23rd. We're going to meet 4 times for around 90 minutes. We're going to create a new sign-up form. We're going to create and set up a new pop-up on your website. We're going to write and set up a thank you page. Like, so many times people don't have thank you pages. And then we're going to create a killer welcome series of up to 5 emails. And you can book your spot at spike.co.nz/boost. So what we're also going to show you is customer acquisition, engagement, ongoing sales techniques. Like, we're really going to dive in. You're going to get a lot of templates, a lot of methods to increase your customer's average purchase value, and then content creation and planning. So I'm kind of putting a lot into that time. And you might be thinking, like, how can I do that? Well, what we're going to do is actually have the support of my team. So at the end of the day, you'll be guaranteed to have the the sign up form and the pop up and that, guaranteed to have it done, because we're going to help you do it, right? So the session times, it'll be Monday and Thursday, and so up to an hour and a half. We're going to record them. Now, the usual cost for this is $1,000, which is why it's called the 1K, Get Spiked Email Marketing Intensive. And I usually run it over a few more weeks. But as a Digital Boost member, and I know we're going to be sending this out in an email, this is like my ongoing offer from now on, is that you're going to get a $250 discount. And if you pay, and how it's going to work for this one is you would register at spike.co.nz/boost. You will receive a registration form and pay $250 to book your spot. And then you can apply for funding. You can do the intensive and get all the stuff that we're going to do for you and all that work in place for Christmas and into the new year. And then we will do a final invoice on the 31st of January. So this is under funding. If you go and search for Spike on the Regional Business Partners Network, you'll see, just search for us, you'll see this particular one up there. So apply for funding. And I think spreading the cost over is going to help a lot of people. And as an add value, that if you sign up for this one, we're going to set up one of my competitions. So if you have watched any of my other workshops, one of my top tips or top tactics for growing your business is setting up a competition. And the value of this is $1,800. And what we do is we set it up, the competition form, and then we actually set up all the emails as well. And once it's finished, you can run it for Christmas. And then you've actually got this thing in place that you can use again and again and again. So remember to book your spot at spike.co.nz/boost. Numbers are limited because we are going to be offering a lot of support, and it's a very busy time of the year. Apart from that, if you'd like some help, I'm always here. Go to bit.ly/Glenn 1-to-1, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to book a call, half an hour, and let's see if we can solve an issue for you. So
Yeah,
thank
nice.
you. Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. That was fabulous. I wanted to ask you, now you talked about funding. I've dropped the website link to your, the website link to your website,
Yep.
spike/boost into the chat. But how do you apply for the funding? What's the funding?
Oh, okay. So Digital Boost, I actually thought there was something on this about this, but Regional Business Partners Network. So a lot of people who come from Digital Boost to me have got an advisor already, a growth advisor, and they've generally gone through the Regional Business Partners Network. So if you do a search for that, Regional Business Partners Network, and talk to them.
And they help you get funding.
They do. They do help you get funding. And also right now there's Activate Tamaki Makoro. I'm going to say it like that. And so, but if someone can correct me. But if you apply for them, what's interesting is that they are giving money for implementation. And I've been told that this particular intensive could come under that as well. So you need to go to Activate Auckland and register there. And that's why I'm doing the $250 to book your spot and the $250 discount. And then, invoicing at the end of January to basically get this thing up and running, get some money off it, get some wins, and then you get to pay the balance after you've had it for a while. So and
Yeah,
hopefully
that's
got some
awesome.
funding. Yeah.
Very grateful. We're very grateful for that, Glenn. And I like how you've tapped into that funding, and I've dropped those links into the chat so folks can find them on the various platforms. There are often there is often quite a lot of funding out there for small businesses.
Yeah.
If you do look around, and sometimes that can be a bit daunting. And so we really appreciate that you've, found that out for us and told us where to go, basically. So now that's fantastic, because I think that I know folks that joined your last workshop who've got epic amount of value out of it. We even had a staff member join in, and she was just baffled. She comes from the tech industry and considers herself to know quite a lot about things, and she went to the session and realized that there was a whole bunch she didn't know. So that's really good. Okay, so the question here from Charlie: is there a specific grant we apply for this one? Love the fact that there is funding. So they've signed up for the Tamaki Makaurau and the regional business partners. You know what?
So,
I don't know. I'm not familiar with what's happening.
So the one for this one is called, there's actually a couple, but it's called Online Email Marketing Training. Hang on, let me just paste that in. So it's a service. You have to search for them, but it's called, 1 second.
I'm going to look for it through so I can drop it in the other channels.
Yeah. I'm really excited that I've got funding for this as well, right? Because especially the implementation side as well, because so many small businesses, find us, expensive at the time, right? And so to be able to get some funding is awesome. And I kind of wish I did actually try earlier on, and it was really hard, but I would like to do a shout out to Briar and Wendy Rose and Wendy Schneller from Regional Business Partners and Activate at Auckland for helping me out, because without Briar, for example, I just would have been a bit lost. She actually worked with me and helped me, write a service, and it's just been a game changer. So, the people at those places like Rob Liver at Activate Auckland as well, they really are there for small businesses, and you have to take advantage of them, because, in 2012, I did, regional business partner, I got some capability funding, and that was a game changer for my business, because I was able to hire this advisor.
Is this the implementation grant?
Yes.
From Activate Auckland? Okay.
Yes.
I've got the link here. I'll drop these guys in for you guys watching on Facebook. I can see there. I'll drop them into for you as well.
So I'm a service provider there. So yeah, this is why I feel like, Digital Boost, we need to be talking about funding a lot more and getting people to apply for it. Because, hey, look, I'm going to put it out there. You're not guaranteed to always get it for what you might, or how much you might think you get, or, but, they will really work with you. Because if you actually put it out there, hey, I want to grow my business and I want help, there are people out there to help you, and they get, they seem to get great joy out of helping New Zealand businesses, especially small businesses, grow. So yeah, I think there's a pathway out there as well. Once, especially if you're exporting, once you get up to a certain level, then NZ Trade and Enterprise take over. So Digital Boost through the regional partners, and, you can just, I'm doing a growth thing, because I feel like that's a way to grow, is through Digital Boost onto the, get funding, and then off you go.
Sorry, I know that I'm making weird faces. I have a friend named Grant. So whenever I'm trying to drop this into the chat, it's just tagging the person that I know instead of tagging the site. I'm just trying to remedy that. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's in all the chat. It's in the chats. Is the funding NZ wide or just Auckland?
So, well, Regional Business Partners is New Zealand wide. But Activate Tamaki Makaurau is pretty much in the name, right? Yeah, it is only for Auckland.
But maybe have a look and see if there's one happening in your area
because
as well.
they are trying to get the country moving. By they, I mean, obviously the government with different grants.
Mm.
But Auckland, has been affected the most. And so that is where they have just put some funding to kick it off. So you need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and I think it's always really important to take advantage of funding, because that can help give you the kickstart that you need, like you talked about, but also B, because when we don't use funding, it's then seen as, that it doesn't have value. And
Yes.
so we don't need to then budget for that funding again the following year. We should put the money somewhere else because no one wants to use it. So, it is really a good idea to look for funding. And there's a lot of artist funding out there. Like if you're here and you're a creator, if that's your area, there are a lot of grants out there that you can go for in your region, in your city, things like that. So if you need help looking for things like that, we might be able to help a little bit with that. You can contact support@digitalboost.co.nz. And if we don't know where to look, we will direct you to somebody who will know how to help you. So do feel free to lean on us a little bit in that area as well. Fantastic. So I'm just looking for questions, but I think we're just handling the questions around the funding, because who doesn't want a bit of funding? And I can see people tuning in on Facebook, but no questions coming through. So that might be us for today. We'll just have a little bit of a waffle on for a second and let folks type if they need to. But I think that was pretty self-explanatory. I've gone ahead and tagged all the relevant parties on Facebook that you mentioned as far as tech tools. So that was some really great advice. And if you're looking for some sessions by RocketSpark, if that's something that has sparked your interest. Oh, wordplay, little pun there. You can check out, we've done a number of sessions with RocketSpark actually. Some of them have been about building a site with them. Some of them have been more general. They've been very generous with their freelancers that they hire to educate us on everything from copywriting, graphic design, those kind of things. We've talked about SEO with them. They're a really lovely team. I can also speak to how lovely they are. And we have a lot of information on Xero. If you aren't familiar with that platform, but you need an accounting software, I'd highly recommend checking out the content that we have. We have both bite-sized content and longer Q&As with Xero. And when they do their sessions, they just walk you right through how to do things, including how did you pronounce it? Inventory.
Inventory?
Yeah, I say inventory and you said
inventory.
And I was like, oh, is that the British?
Did I really?
Yeah,
wow.
Inventory. And I said,
Inventory.
oh, Glenn's getting
Inventory.
creative with this.
Yeah.
Pronunciation now. Yeah.
Now you've got me. It's like inventory. No, you're right. It's inventory.
Awesome.
Wow,
okay, I'm not a crazy person after all. I don't know if these platforms integrate with RocketSpark, or I believe most of them integrate with Shopify. I'm not sure. I don't quote me on it, but if you're looking for platforms that specifically deal with inventory, Sin 7 and Unleashed are some really good apps you can use for that. They often do integrate with a lot of those website builders. And if you're looking for something for shipping, Go Sweet Spot is a great app to check out. That actually will help you to not have to copy paste addresses and things like that. It'll actually pull it right from your system when the order is created and print you out a label so you're ready to go. And that integrates, Go Sweet Spot definitely integrates with Sin 7, and I'm sure it probably integrates with Unleashed. And so your inventory gets updated automatically, your shipping stuff gets done automatically, just really streamlines that back of end process that can often be really admin heavy. Yep. So yeah, check it out.
And you're so knowledgeable. You just whip that stuff off. No, it's true. It's that was very good. Okay, so shall we finish up and then we can
let's finish. We're done. Bye. No, I think we are done. I don't see any other questions coming through. Everybody's going to be looking for that funding now. So
Yeah.
we'll let you guys go and search that up. Have a great, wonderful day. I've always feel so privileged to have you on, Glenn. You're like such a great resource of knowledge, and you're so wonderful with helping out our digital boosters. You're always open for a chat, which is really lovely. And you've also produced some great workshops this year. And as we finish up this year, I just want to say thank you so much from the whole Digital Boost team for all your effort. And I'm looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward to those topics coming into me this week, because we're finishing up business. Isn't that right, Glenn?
Yes, 6 of them.
Yes, thank you. So Charlie said, total side question. Glenn, did you get a chance to chat to your MailChimp guy about the pop-up exit?
Not yet.
Ooh. Oh, you're welcome, Dean. Oh, Dean, hello. Yeah, so, okay, not yet. All right, well, you're being hounded, Glenn. So just saying, I'm also here's me, you know.
It's all right. I've
Give me
got
your
her
topic
email. I've got
titles.
her email. I'll sort
Okay.
that out.
Okay, perfect. All right, everyone. Ka kite. I will see you guys. I just, as a little mention, we have Google on this week talking about Google Analytics. It's been a topic that everybody's been hyping about. And so if you want to hear from the actual providers and suppliers, join us, I believe, on Thursday. So check that out. There's a lot of other great sessions. Make sure you check out what's happening.